Hello, Sharks fans! My name is Jacob Boyd, and I'll be presenting to you guys today the San Jose Sharks versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights, game number 1 of this new year, 2023-2024 regular season. Now, Sharks hockey is back, Sharks fans, and I'm excited to present to you guys today this matchup. And this means for a clean slate for the San Jose Sharks and, a slight hope for optimism for, a good outcome to this season. I know on paper, most Sharks fans and pundits and hockey writers alike are all counting the Sharks out because of, the likes of Timo Meier not being here, the likes of Erik Karlsson not being here. Well, they're not on the team anymore, guys. So let's go ahead and move on and get to this Sharks team and see how well they do. But Sharks fans, I don't know how many of you know baseball, that are watching this hockey content. But if you don't know, there's a team called the Arizona Diamondbacks who were kind of a no-name team, in the baseball ranks, where they were ranked one of the worst teams in all of baseball coming into the season. And it ended up being that, they had a young, mix of young rookies and veterans alike on that team. And they made the playoffs. And everybody was, really surprised that that team made the playoffs. And, everybody was saying that they were just going to get swept by the Dodgers because the Dodgers were the number 1 seed and the Dodgers are this great powerhouse team. And, it's in hockey reference, it's like the Vegas Golden Knights losing to the Sharks last year. That's how big of a difference this was. But it ended up being that it was, actually the reverse, where the Arizona Diamondbacks came in and just swept the Dodgers, who were the ranked number 1 seed this year. So, Sharks fans, if you guys have any hope to optimism, we could be the Arizona Diamondbacks this year in the NHL. So, this could be our year. But obviously, to temper expectations, I understand that, this Sharks team will most likely be one of the, bottom feeders of this league. But, it doesn't go to say that, they cannot be good, or they cannot, contend, or they cannot, at least be better than what most people think, which is a cellar dwelling team. So, the Sharks, just like the Diamondbacks, have that young core of, like the William Eklunds, the Thomas Bordelos of the world, of the team. And just like, and then they have a mix of veterans that they got in the trade for Erik Karlsson in terms of Mikael Granlund, Mike Hoffman, and Jan Rutta. So Sharks fans, this, gives us, a little hope, as this is a new year and kind of a new beginning, so to speak. So if you guys like Cinderella stories, this could be one of them. But anyways, Sharks fans, it's just another exciting time, for Sharks hockey. And I'm super, stoked on presenting this one to you guys today, because this is the new year. And we'll see what happens with this new Sharks team. And, are we going to be, hoping for, Celebrini? Sure. We're probably going to be doing that towards the end of the year, middle year, even maybe even the start of the season, who knows? But, I think this is going to be, one that we're going to be looking at to hopefully get us on the right foot and get a win versus the defending Stanley Cup champions who've already won a game this year. But Anyways, we all know my bold predictions as of yesterday's video. If you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend you guys doing so. It kind of blends into this video here. So now, will most of those bold predictions come true? No, I'm not saying that most of those predictions that I predicted yesterday will come true. And will it be likely the Sharks are even bad this year? Yes, I think that could be a possibility as well. Probably, the latter more so, that they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. But I love opening night hockey, and the hope for optimism for every team in the NHL is now. You got plenty of teams thinking that they can win, and that's what this day brings every NHL team and fan alike, that perspective. With that being said, I want to go ahead and get right into the Sharks versus Knights game preview. Coach Quinn has not sent out, the projected lineups as of yet, but throughout camp and into, the practices leading up to this game, I can be pretty close to what they might be. And I also went on the daily face-off line combinations, and they generally have a good, outlook on who might be starting and who might not be. So let me go ahead and bring that up for you guys. Starting for your San Jose Sharks, on the left wing, you have Mike Hoffman. Centering that line one, you have Tomas Hertl. And then on the right wing, you had Filip Zadina. So obviously with this line, you get, Zadina, another Czech player with Tomas Hertl, and then with a proven goal scorer, Mike Hoffman. Sharks fans are going to look for this line to wreak havoc tonight and hopefully put some pucks in the net. Next, you got William Eklund, Mikael Granlund, and Luke Kunin. Again, you got more. Coach Quinn's going to probably go with more of a veteran with some rookie in terms of William Eklund. So he has Eklund, and then Granlund being that steady, veteran presence with Luke Kunin as well. Nobody's going to mess with Eklund if Cunnin's on the ice. So I think that's why he kind of got paired up with them. And Cunnin's actually been looking pretty good in camp. So we'll see how that goes, though. Obviously, other people could get moved up into that spot. Next, you got Alexander Barabanov, Thomas Bordeleau, and Anthony Duclair. This line, I think, could be one of the best lines that Coach Quinn can trot out there. So we'll see how they fare tonight. And then you got the fourth line in Giovanni Smith, Nico Sturm, and Fabian Zetterlund. It's interesting to have, both Smith and Zetterlund in tonight. I think they're going to get the nod because of, how they were in training camp. Giovanni Smith, I think we want a tougher kind of guy in the lineup against a tough Vegas team. We need some size. So Zetterlund and Smith give that to us instead of maybe going for the likes of, Kevin Labanc, who's a smaller, more skilled player. So that's probably why you see them in tonight. Next, you have defensemen are Ferraro and Burrows. Defensive pairing 2 is Vlasic Benning. Defense pairing 3 is Thrun and Ruta. And then the goalie tonight is Kaapo Kähkönen, getting the nod in goal as of late. Kaapo Kähkönen has been the better goalie throughout training camp, so that is probably why he gets the start as well. The scratches for tonight, the scratches are gonna be. See here. Nikolai Knyzhov, Ty Emberson, and Kevin Labanc. And the injured players are Couture, Hoychuk, McDonald, and Schmidt. But in my opinion, that second and third line will be an interesting one to see who gets more minutes tonight, as it could very well be, projecting the third line gets the lion's share of the minutes, as opposed to, the second line. So it just depends on, who might be playing well at that time. You'll see the third line get more minutes probably, but we'll see as the game progresses, and you can catch my game review on my projections here and see who will actually come out on top in terms of time on ice, the being more. Now the Sharks will be playing against the defending Stanley Cup champions in the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And of course, all of us Sharks fans hate hearing it, but I am not one to dwell on the past, as it's a new season. So the Golden Knights are coming into this contest with a 1-0 record, beating another playoff contender last year in the Seattle Kraken by a final score of 4-1. The Knights will show a heavy diet of Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, and Chandler Stevenson, with, of course, the Jonathan Marchessaults and the Carlsons of the world up the middle. The top two lines on the Vegas are some of the best in the league. Then you have, the Pietrangelo, who played like 26 minutes on the back end against the Kraken 2 nights ago. And then you have Nick Hague, who is his defensive partner. You'll see a steady diet of him. And then also Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore. So their top 2D pairings are really good. The lines that you need to attack, though, if you're the Sharks, are going to be the third and fourth lines, and then also that third line D pairing. If the Sharks want to be successful and win tonight. Meanwhile, holding their own against the top two will be, again, a key to this game as well. Just, making sure that you hold, the Eichels and the Stones off the score sheet as much as possible. Then most likely lineup for the Golden Knights are going to be shown here. You got the forwards in Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Jonathan Marchessault. Then for your line number one, you got Cotter, then Stevenson, and then Stone for line two. And then you got Dorofeev, Carlson, and Armadio, line three. Ronsberg, Roy, and Kolasar on line four. So you'll get to see Dorofeev and I believe Ronsberg, as they're going to get their 2 starts of the season, the first 2 starts of their first start of the season for them, because of one suspension and one day-to-day Will Carrier got hurt. Anyways, you got Nick Hague and Pietrangelo as D-line 1 pairing. D2 pairing is McNabb Theodore, and D3 is Hutton Paschall. And then in goal, you most likely will see Adin Hill. Not sure if they're going to go with their backup, but I would assume that Adin Hill would be the starter for tonight's game. But it looks like Will Carrier sustained a minor injury in last game, and he might be out for tonight, as it's shown here. But, as game time comes around, we'll see what happens with him. And then also Brett Howden, who is not listed on this. He was suspended for 2 games by the league for the high hit. A hit to the head against, I forget who it was on the Seattle Kraken, but he got a 2-game suspension. So he will not, this is his first game being on the suspended list. Vegas was middle of the pack in the power play, and, pretty much the same on the penalty kill, middle of the pack in the penalty kill last year. So similar stats were in the playoffs for them as well. They weren't a top team in either category last year in this regular season nor in the playoffs, meaning that Vegas is really good 5-on-5 team, and look for the Sharks to hopefully exploit them on the power play. The things to look out for in this game is how do the Sharks clear the front of the net so that Kaapo Kähkönen can see all the shots. Vegas is really good at going to the front of the net, so hopefully you can stop that from happening, and then also stop some cross crease passing because they're very good at cross crease passes for one-timers. But also Vegas is, excuse me, Vegas is very good on the 2-on-1s. So Sharks D need to, understand when to pinch and when not to, because they have a lot of speed that come through the neutral zone. A very speedy Vegas team. It'll be interesting to see if the Sharks clog up the neutral zone, or do they pinch and keep play in the offensive zone, or do they just hang back and give ground? I know last year Karlsson tried to keep the play in and pinch a lot, but he also got beat a lot when pinching. So it, led to a lot of goals. Obviously, we know Karlsson scored a lot of goals, but he also, did some, unorthodox things in the offensive zone to keep pucks in, which also bit us in the butt, more times than not on that defensive end. So we let up a lot of 2-on-1s last year. Lastly, do the forwards sustain any zone pressure? We definitely upgraded at forward this year and are much deeper. So, can the Sharks forwards do a better job than last year at sustaining O-zone pressure? So these are all the things I want to see facing a really good Vegas team. And if the Sharks can succeed at making these right pinches, if they can sustain the O-zone pressure, and if they can eliminate defensive turnovers, the Sharks may just have a better team than most people thought. So if not, we'll see Sharks fans, if we're in for another, long tanking season. But these are all the things that I'm watching for, and it's going to be interesting to note on what kind of Sharks team will we get tonight. But that's going to be it for me, Sharks fans. That's my take on the Sharks versus Knights Game 1 preview. I hope everyone going to the game tonight has a great time. For those of you watching the broadcast, I hope for all of you to see a Sharks win. And also, catch me on the game review tomorrow at 12 p.m. to get my reactions on what happened tonight. One last thing I'm going to, before signing off, is let's go Sharks. Peace.